Congresswoman joins me right now. Good to see you.
Hey, Neil. Good to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Are you convinced, Congressman, that this has been tightened a little bit, that we can avoid some of these companies that heretofore shouldn't have gotten this money because they're a little too big, don't do it again?
Yeah, look, I mean, we actually have now 8 different oversight entities. If you include the standing committees, if you include the oversight entities that we approved in the last round in the CARES Act, and we do have to make sure that the businesses and the entities, Harvard University, that should not have this money, don't get it. I think that's very important. But I think that there is a really solid set of institutions and committees already in place to do that. This vote that's going on right now on the House floor is not that. This is a 9th oversight body established by Speaker Pelosi, very much focused on partisanship, focused on trying to find ways to attack the president, attack the administration. At a moment, Neil, when we need to be coming together as a nation, we need to be looking at the threat from China, we need to be defeating this virus, we need to be looking at ways we can safely get the economy open again. This isn't a time when we should be playing partisan games. The Democrats blocked this money for small businesses now ever since April 7th when we first asked for it. That kind of thing just has to stop. So, I think you'll see most Republicans, potentially all Republicans, voting against this Pelosi committee. And we need to get down to the work of let's get the country moving again, but we have to do it in a way that is safe, and we got to defeat the virus.
I was just mentioning, Congresswoman, we had this case, a sudden and unexpected spike in deaths in California, and the trend prior to this was actually quite favorable. And sadly, I know the deaths are a lagging indicator. Hospitalizations and all have been improving dramatically in that state and most other states, but not all states. So I'm wondering, given what you've seen going on in Georgia and that it will partly reopen tomorrow, is the California situation a reminder that you got to be really careful with this?
Yeah, there's no question, Neil. We need to listen to people like Dr. Fauci, people like Dr. Birx. We've got to make sure that this virus is absolutely deadly. And many of the things that we thought we knew about it in terms of who was safe, who couldn't be affected by it, it's just not true. And so we can defeat it. We will defeat it. It's going to take increased testing. It's going to take increased work on things like therapeutics, things like vaccines. But we've got to make sure that we've got a focus on the safety piece of this as well. I know people want the economy to get open again, but we can't ignore the fact that the virus is still out there. We have to be safe about it. We have to do it the right way. We need to listen to the public health professionals.
All right, but nevertheless, a lot of people are getting nervous with now, 5 straight weeks of record unemployment claims. We're at more than 26 million Americans filing for jobless benefits. It could go significantly higher. Are you worried right now that even when we are slowly getting back to work, that it's going to be a slow haul here, that it won't be a V-shaped recovery, that fewer people going back into restaurants and theaters almost by edict for distance reasons, that it inevitably will be a slower recovery?
I do think that that's the case, Neil. I think that we have to be realistic about it. And I think also, though, we have to remember who's at fault. And the people who are at fault here are the Chinese Communist Party, the Chinese government. I mean, when you look at what they've done, what they have unleashed on the world, hundreds of thousands of deaths, the economy globally here in the United States completely shut down. They lied about this. They caused this virus to be exported. And by that I mean that at a time they knew they had human-to-human contact and human-to-human transmission in Wuhan, they stopped letting people from Wuhan travel to the rest of China, but they let them travel around the world. So they exported this virus to the world. They lied about it. They disappeared the physicians who tried to warn the world about it. And they have also threatened to blackmail us. You've had Chinese state-owned media saying that they will stop the export of medicines that we need right now in the middle of the fight against COVID. That cannot happen. That needs to be a wake-up call for people all across this country. We cannot be vulnerable to the Chinese government like this. We cannot allow ourselves to be blackmailed. We need to take very specific and clear action to move our supply chains out of China. We need to make sure that we are defended and protected. And the United States needs to lead the world and lead the free nations of the world in making clear that we will not let the Chinese Communist Party determine the kind of future we're all going to live in. They will be held accountable. They must be held accountable, and the United States needs to lead that effort.
Congressman Cheney, very good seeing you again. Thank you. Continued good health.
Thank you, Neil.
Be safe.
Good to be with you.